school. The teachers will have to send online assignments and WhatsApp and the paperless office. I believe we have to do away with the because then we are spending so much of paper, because we also have to be environment friendly. And as Jaswinder sir rightly said, that we do not have to cut the trees. And so that is how I pick up from there, that best is that we have the paperless concept. The teachers send the assignments online, because they already have come into that mode of blended form of learning, and most of the assignments will be going online. Online homework, then online teaching will be happening, then recorded mode of presentations will be sent to the students who are missed out. Then the students who are the, I mean, dyslexic students, then for them basically presentations have an everlasting impact on the child's mind as visuals basically. So they can also learn, then they can just record the session and listen to it as and when they feel like. So 2040 will be completely a blended form of learning. We cannot do away, of course, and technology will be the major leader in 2040. Technology will take over. That's what I feel.
Technology would be a keyword. Would
Yes,
take over.
yes,
Would
yes. Technology, yes.
Great.
Technology.
So I would be presenting the same question to these technology, how technology would take over the education, to Jaswinder sir when I would come back to him. Now I would request, Vinayak, this question comes from the art side of education. Vinayak, how do you see the, first evolution of art as a subject? Second, a lot of institutions, music has received a great attention in particular. And how like do you believe that every institution like do we have that number of talent? Do we have that number of trainers in our country, or the infrastructure capability that every school can establish a music lab? So, what solution you believe we can have?
Like Rajulji, you made an interesting question, put up an instructing question right now. Like, how is the evolution of arts happening? I see it like I just during my talk I just gave you an example. Like the kids of today don't even know who our ustads are, because they are not exposed to that kind of a viewership. When they are opening YouTube or they are watching the television, it's Justin Bieber or Nick Jonas, or it's flooded by the Western influences. The only understanding they have of Bollywood is Arijit Singh, and that is what music is to them. So right now we need to understand our audience, and we need to understand that who the audience is and what might interest in them, and take them towards the right direction. Suppose if a person is interested in drums, you put him into tabla, he will feel that he's been pushed into something which he does not want, because he can see around him in the world everybody's learning drums, who is learning tabla. So like performing arts is evolving in a big way. Earlier we used to talk about Bharatnatyam, we talk about Kathak, but now if you see, we talk about Zumba, we talk about salsa. When the students are learning the performing arts, they are getting far and far away from the tradition. Now I'll not get into the discussion whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it is happening, is the what I feel. And we need to move with the times. Like something that might be good at when you were learning might not be relevant when I was learning, might not be relevant when my child is learning. So yes, performing arts is evolving, and everybody needs to evolve with the changing times, and uh, give to the students what they actually want to learn, rather than enforce them what our methodology is. Now secondly, like there is no dearth of talent in India. It's the second most populated country in the world. There is a lot of talent. There is availability of instructors will be there. We just need to find a way to train them properly, to give them the requisite soft skills that are required to handle children and nurture children. Just overlook, as far as performing arts goes, just overlook the certification aspects a bit. Like for there will be certain qualifications that are mandatory for teachers who are teaching the mainstream subjects, but for performing arts we should overlook these aspects, and understand the core passion of the person and push him into the education side. And thirdly, as far as the infrastructure goes, yes, schools do have the resources, private schools do have the resources to develop the infrastructure, but the issue lies in the day-to-day maintenance of the instruments. That is where the struggle is, and that is what they should avoid getting into. So it's better that somebody else manages the maintenance of the instruments, because it is a totally different headache.
Absolutely. Thank you. Vinayak, for that.
Yeah.
I would now request Ruchika ma'am. Ruchika ma'am, if I may present this question to you. Yeah. Ruchika ma'am, this question has come from Miss Sangeeta Bagai. Sangeeta ji is a senior PRT with Delhi Public School, Mathura Road, Faridabad. The question says how to reduce a disparity between EWS section students and mainstream students.
See, that is what NEP is. That is what NEP is talking about. So the main thing is that they are trying to bridge this gap which is being created. Like, so NEP is all trying to create good human beings who are empathetic, who have the creative imaginations. So just a second. So just a minute. So basically, when we are teaching in the classroom, for a teacher, it has to be, a teacher has to be very, very, in that way, students don't, we don't, it's not the fault of the teacher. The teacher has to be so sensitive and she has to be so well to do with the children that she does the activities in such a way that obviously this thing should not come into the minds of the children, that because in a classroom for a teacher every child is equivalent. So I don't think so that disparity is going to rise, because they study together, they play together, and RT system has also, like, somewhere or the other, it has also helped out in overcoming those gaps which is actually created. And NEP is also talking about all these things, that where we are creating human beings which those who have ethical values, and they are treating everybody equitable, and a lot of the focus is being made on the inclusive educations. So I guess this is disparity in education will reduce in that ways.
Right. Thank you, Ruchika ma'am. You have high hope with the policy, but certainly we all agree that there is a disparity at the ground. You know,
Yeah,
at
there
every
is a
level.
disparity is there. I totally agree, sir. But if a teacher is the classroom, teacher knows about it, and teacher is able to handle the children in a well planned manner.
मेरा एक सप्लीमेंट्री क्वेश्चन है मैम यहाँ पे. मेरा जो अनुभव रहा, जब ईडब्ल्यूएस सेक्शन के बच्चे आते हैं स्कूल में, तो जो पहला स्टेप है, द स्कूल मैनेजमेंट वही उन बच्चों को एक उस नजर से देखता है कि भाई ये बच्चे हम पे थोपे गए. ये जब उनका आना ही इस नजर से शुरू हुआ, so I मतलब yeah.
You truly agree, because basically we have to feel to it, and it has to go under this. So education is basically a public service, and it has to reach to the every child and every individual, irrespective of their any circumstances, their birth or any other things. So that disparity will always finish, but yes, it has to come from the school management side, it has to come from the teacher's side, and she's teaching all the children equally into the classroom. Everybody is taken at an equal, and I don't think so a teacher is a person who is a role model for the class. So if somebody does that disparity, then in no ways she or he has a right to be called as a teacher.
Absolutely. Absolutely. एक और supplementary question है, फिर मैं जसविंदर सर के पास जाऊंगा. You know, when I interact with a lot of education leaders, and they are right when they say that कि वो थोपे गए, वो थोपे ही गए जाते हैं. You know, the government has left no option to school authorities.
Actually, the planning part from the government side is little bit into that. Otherwise, that is.
मेरा एक question है मैम, और आपका जो उस पे perspective है, फिर मैं मंजीत मैम का भी इस पे लूंगा, फिर then I'll go to जसविंदर सर. You know, a lot of schools say that, you know, we cannot charge 75% students. You know, 75% students cannot subsidize and should not subsidize the education of 25% students who are coming from that background. So मेरा एक supplementary question है, मैंने बहुत सारे educators से informal talks में इस बारे में बात किया. Let's say if I'm sending my kid to some XYZ school, and if I am giving, let's say, 2% or 3% or let's say 10% additional fees for those 25% students who are coming from that kind of background, and school, can obviously it is those 75% students are subsidizing the fees of those 25% people. So इसमें इसमें सबसे बड़ा जो question है, this can be done, मतलब इसमें कोई इतना मतलब if obviously government is offering some support, that is not visible, that is not that much proactive. उसमें बहुत सारे challenges हैं, schools are not accepting that. But अगर 25% बच्चों की फीस को बाकी 75% बच्चे, जिसमें से काफी बच्चे वो फीस एडिशनल 5% 10% चार्ज अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं, तो इसको आप कैसे देखते हैं रुचिका मैम?
See, sir, it's the basically every family has a liability to it. So financial, so that is like what means exactly. What is your question? Means could you repeat once again?
My question is कि schools का जो basic objection है with that disparity, that question you answered very well, that disparity has to be removed when we teach our students and teachers the lessons of empathy and those things. But a lot of schools also say that we don't have admission seats in nursery, but you come back to us in the KG or in the second class or third year, we'll have the vacancies. क्योंकि वो बच्चों कंटिन्यू नहीं कर पाते हैं.
Like actually RT says because as I told you that it starts from the grade 1. So it's like the admissions in the RT take place in grade 1 only. So they are not enrolled in nursery, LKG, UKG. So that is, they are enrolled in grade 1 only.
And how many
people, and RT can, because early childhood care जो programs होते हैं, through that also I think RT can be introduced right from nursery class. So it can happen later on, but presently it is like in the...
How many people who take admission through RTE, they continue for next 10-12 years in that particular school? And if they drop out, what are the reasons as per your understanding?
See, dropout can be of any reason. Maybe it is financially but actually there is a mix of it, I must say to it, because government have to work on its policy, because when children come to us, I don't find that they are so from a financially weak backgrounds, because figures can be manipulated and wrong data can be shown, and the children basically are from the environment. They can pay the fees, but they are not actually paying it. But yes, if there is certain things, so I personally feel, I don't want to comment on other people. If I find the children good and they can pursue education, and they have that intelligence in them, intellect in them, so definitely education being a very, very noble profession, it can be supported from the school side also. Means the children who are intelligent students and who pursue studies and who basically they will help.
Right.
It's so that ways I think so that
right.
If school, and sometimes it's teachers also, it's not only the management, teachers also help, some society members come to help and out
right.
To reach to the people. So through this community program also, schools can sponsor those students, or they some well-to-do established local community society, say it can be asked to them to society from the society to encourage to sponsor those students. So through this way actually it can be done. Right. And the children who are actually intelligent enough, so for those students, so I think so it can be done, and we people also do to it.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'll be coming back to you, Ruchika ma'am. And now I would request Manjeet ma'am before I go to Jaswindra sir. Ma'am, what are your assessment? Let's talk about that. Two different classes in segments in our classrooms. Students who are coming from EWS and students who are coming from normal background. So where are the challenges?
Challenges first, I would just like to make a correction here, Ruchika ma'am. RTE admission is not, not class 1, but it's just the entry level class. Let's say the school starts from nursery, LKG, upper KG. Then if the school entry level class becomes nursery, that is 3+, right? And then the child is admitted in nursery class. Whichever is entry level class, you have to do do that 25% of EWS category admission.
Yes, ma'am. Because Yeah.
I just wanted to make that correction. I hope
Actually, here I don't know about
maybe your
your.
school must be starting from class 1.
No,
So
it's about this. I don't
I'll
know.
come to you, Ruchika ma'am. I'll come to you. Let Manjeet ma'am complete her
Yeah.
response, and then I'll come back to you.
So EWS class, first of all, foremost, this is the entry level class. The entry level class, if the school starts with nursery, LKG, upper KG, that there are 3 classes before class 1. You can give it any name: LKG, upper KG, or KG1, KG2. So the child will be admitted in the entry level class. If you have 20, if you are admitting 20 students in nursery level class, whatever, and then for 25% means 5 students you have to take from the RTE Act. Now the thing is that the moment you take these students in the class, and then when the parents come, and then you have to make them comfortable. You do not have to distinguish. So if you make them comfortable right from day 1, and just treat those parents also at par, because some of the students are coming from the RT background, because there's a lottery system by which you have to select, and there are hundreds of students applying for the RTE Act, and there are various criterias and parameters which every, like Chandigarh administration have different sort of criteria. So every state has different criteria. I won't go into those nitty gritties. But then you have to just, after that, then you have the draw of lots. But when the children come to school, the best way is that the teacher who's there, the teacher who's teaching, let's say nursery entry level class, has to treat them at par. And subsequently, as the students move up, so till class 8, it is RTE, right to free education. So till class 8, you have to, you cannot, and then you just treat them at par. Then you do not, this is part of inclusive education also. The same activities, and let them mingle with the other children. And then the students, but basically, what the problem comes, the parents have to be taught. In fact, let me just share an anecdote with you. We started the adult literacy program in our school. Adult literacy program, initially we started with the signature campaign. All the mates and all, they just learned how to sign. I mean, but some of them even could not, some mates and all. Then that was a signature campaign. And so then initially, then what we thought, now these children who were admitted under the RT Act category, so they were finding it difficult. Their parents could not, because their parents are not literate, so they could not help their wards in doing the homework. So what we did, we identified these parents, I mean parents whose children were admitted under the RT Act, who had moved on to class 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we call these mothers. I mean, morning they did not have time. Maybe some of them were going as maids to work in other houses. Some of them were like the fruit sellers and all, because RT Act, all these children come. Okay. And then we used to call them in the afternoon, and 2 to 3, along with our mates, we call these parents also, and we started educating them so that they can further teach their own children. So basically it was difficult, but then 2 things we could achieve. First and foremost, we were giving a free education to the children, and then secondly, calling these parents in the afternoon and adult literacy program for them, so that gradually they also basically get literate. And then your main question was that how to bridge the gap and the children should be in mainstream with the other students. I think that was your question,
Right,
Raju.
right, ma'am.
Right. And so basically all these activities and all, and we should make them participate in all the possible activities which we have, and then maybe help them out, and so that obviously there's uniformity in dress, so they are wearing a uniform, so then that bridges the gap. And secondly, whichever activities are, they should be given a push in every activity.
Right.
Like cricket games, and you have compulsory games. And if there is if there's, and we normally we don't charge, like basically the schools should not, if there are any extra activities which you're having, so then you do not like, even when you're having the founders annual day function, so you just make them, make them participate in the mainstream, so that they
Right.
feel they're also part of it. And for their functions and all, for the dresses and
So
all,
whose role, ma'am, whose role you see is more important here, teachers or the school management?
Teachers, of course.
Teachers.
School
Okay.
management, in what perspective? School management.
To make those EWS students comfortable, and I would say
The monetary aspect,
make them capable.
monetary aspect, of course, the permission has to be taken from the school management, and teachers are, because teachers are there in the class level, so teachers have to make them feel comfortable,
Right.
so that even they should be
Right.
sitting with all the other students and
Okay.
participating in all the possible
Right.
activities,
Thank
and
you. Thank
monitoring,
you,
of course, the school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manjeet ma'am. And Ruchika ma'am, let me take one question from Jaswinder sir, and then I'll come back to you for your response. Jaswinder sir, Manjeet ma'am said during her first answer that technology is going to take over. So how do you visualize that? How technology is going to take over? Like, are we going to see the teacher robots as teachers who is going to teach us? How do you see that? First part, and second part, which is a very, very regular question to us, it's about the language. A lot of people say that this policy is actually diluting English as a language. So how do you assess that? Jaswin, there's two questions.
Okay, the first part is technology going to take over. I'll rephrase it. Technology is going to serve, right? Takeover is a little distant, but I'll tell you how it serves. You all heard of augmented reality. You heard of virtual reality. You heard of video on demand. You got music on demand. Now it's going to be teacher on demand. Unfortunately, 20 years from now, student will say, today I want to know about microorganisms. I want to know up to this level. I want a teacher to come and teach me. Fatak, there'll be a teacher aa jayenge, right? Through the camera. That teacher will personally teach him. And that teacher would have already known कि इस बच्चे को कितना आता है, मुझे किस लैंग्वेज में पढ़ाना है, मुझे क्या पढ़ाना है, और फिर बात को उसको क्वेश्चन पूछ करके फिर फीड करेगा कि इस बच्चे में इतना दिमाग है, अब दूसरा द नेक्स्ट टीचर जो भी आए. So unfortunately, the teachers are going to be at the beck and call of students. I'm scared.
But one second, why this is unfortunate?
Why should a teacher be at a beck and call of a student? Student should be at a beck and call of a teacher. Where is the relation? Where is the respect? Getting my point? Unfortunate.
Yes, sir, is it the teacher physical presence or the physical presence of a teacher in class, or are you talking about the smart?
Ma'am, even in the class, I'll tell you what is happening is, okay, I worked on unfortunately, teachers कम हो जाएंगे, ma'am. इतना आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस आ जाएगा, इतना सारा कुछ आ जाएगा. आप बोलोगे मुझे माधुरी दीक्षित चाहिए, लेकिन वो मुझे आके साइंस पढ़ाए, तो माधुरी दीक्षित की शेप में कोई आ जाएगा और आपको साइंस आपकी तरह पढ़ा जाएगा. बिकॉज हम इतना सारा क्या एक ह्यूमन को इतना कंफर्ट लेवल देने की बात कर रहे हैं कि उसको खड़ा भी ना हो, पंखा ना करे, रिमोट से कर ले. अब बोले दिमाग में सोचे तो पंखा चालू हो जाए. दैट इज स्टुपिडिटी दैट वी आर डूइंग. You know what one thing that Pope did? Pope said you cannot develop a human in the laboratory. इन्होंने बकरियां तो बना ली. Are you aware of that? They have made a goat alive out of no living being. So unfortunately, that is where I'm seeing education going. In a way, for the new generation, that's the way they want to have it. आज मूड नहीं है, मैं रात को 2 बजे पढ़ूंगा, 2 बजे क्लास लग जाएगी. तो this is what I see 40 years from now. What also I see 20 years from now is that students will go to school to learn life skills, not get educated. Education उनको घर में मिलेगी. They will go to schools to go and play with their friends, to learn life skills, to learn how to compete in the world, to make friends and to socially meet people. Because unfortunately, every day with technology, though I'm a man of technology हमें एक लोनर बना रहा है. एक ना जगजीत सिंह का एक वो है, गजल है, हर तरफ आदमी ही आदमी, फिर भी अकेला आदमी. ये सिचुएशन होने वाली है टेक्नोलॉजी की. So somewhere there has to be a stop, but I don't see that stop ever happening. So I'm scared of the school that is going to come 20 years from now. So that is my answer to technology. Let's all keep our fingers crossed that some brainy guy comes and says, we will not do this. The way Pope said that you will not create a human in the laboratory. Okay, now coming on to the other important part is, will English lose its importance? No. Let's understand one thing. हम इंडिया में हैं, इंडिया पूरी दुनिया नहीं है. लेकिन India is already the back office of the world. India wants to become the factory of the world. India will become the service center of the world. You have to have a common language to communicate with everybody, and that's English. That's what we're talking about. I've given these examples that if you have 2 pencils and if your pencil is shorter than the one, you increase this size, you don't cut this. So what we are trying to do is bring importance to local languages, not by cutting short English. English is required as it is and as much it is, but other languages will also have importance. So I don't think that in the near future, English as a language will lose its importance. In fact, from the time we have actually heard about NEP and this language, there are more schools who are talking to us about language development, because they know that the time that they're going to give it to English is going to be reduced, because that time may go to some other language. So they will have to use technology, and like Manjeet ma'am said, blended teaching. स्कूल में पढ़ाई, घर में प्रैक्टिस, घर में काम किया, टीचर को रिपोर्ट आ गया. This is what is going to be the future of learning languages, and English will not lose its importance.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jaswinder sir. And now I would request Ruchika ma'am to conclude your thoughts, and then we'll come back to all the speakers for the concluding remark to conclude the session. Ruchika ma'am, you had a few thoughts to share. If we can have those ideas.
Yeah, definitely. So, thank you for the session. First of all, it was a wonderful session. So, my thought is yes, technology, teachers will be replaced by technology. And secondly is
तो मैं आपसे वही सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ जो जसविंदर सर को मैंने बोला, will it be मतलब I won't use the same line like teachers would be replaced by technology, but if students have that flexibility that they can select the teachers, they can select their tutors, they can select their subjects, virtual sessions, will it be fortunate or unfortunate?
Yeah, it's unfortunate basically, because obviously, like Vinayak sir also shared that something is emotional, so robots cannot replace teachers in that way, and it should not replace also, because maybe they can teach, but that emotional that is touch which is provided from the teachers, and that nobody else can give it. So I think it should not happen.
It will be the warmth which will be lost.
Yeah. So, and that is what, because teachers should be there, in fact.
Right. Thank you, Ruchika ma'am. And with this, we come to the end of this wonderful session. But before we end the session, I would request all our speakers if we can have your concluding remarks. And we have also established one very interesting practice, that while sharing your concluding remark, if you can also suggest or share some ideas, some of your priority that you would like to implement if you get a chance to become Minister of Education. So I'll request Vinayak, if we can begin with you, for your concluding remark. Yep. And what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Minister of Education?
Basically, Rajul ji, if I get a chance to become the Minister of Education, I would like to reach out to homes and the parents and tell them how the changes in education is expected in the coming scenario, and I would like to do it through a jingle, like it used to happen in the 90s. Sunday hoya Monday roj khao Monday, that jingle resonated with everybody, and that made the middle class parent aware about the nutritional benefits of egg on a child, and that's still stuck. So that is the power that music has. So probably if the Ministry of Education can get certain people, certain eminent artists, we have had in the past Mille Sur Mera Tumhara also, when there was a general divide in the nation, which actually united the nation in more ways than one. So there should be something that should make the parents aware about what the changes in education are happening, and they should be expected to look at it from a positive side. A lot of stress has been laid on vocational learning as well. So right now, even my younger brother, who's 7 years younger to me, he cannot change a light bulb. So we are talking about vocational education, but basic life skills are not being taught to children these days.
Right.
So these things should be made aware to parents. If somebody is teaching in school basic smaller things, so not to judge these things, basically.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Vinayak. And I also must recognize the presence of Gunjan Sahani ma'am, Principal Sopti International School. Welcome, Gunjan ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rajul.
Thank you for joining up. And now I would request Jaswinder sir. Jaswinder sir, if I may ask you the same for your concluding remark, And what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Minister of Education?
Yeah, my concluding remark would be that this policy is great, though a lot of work has to be done. We should not get burdened with the quantum of work that needs to be done. We need to put it, piecemeal and go, compartmentalize the entire implementation and go and look at it slowly and work on it. This is going to make wonders, do wonders for the coming generation. One. Second, coming on to the part is that if I were to be made the Minister of Education, Union Government, my first thing that I would do is I would bring in the kind of respect that the teachers need. See, understand this policy, whatever infrastructure, whatever you say, whatever said and done, everything can be achieved only and only if our teachers are brought in. The best of the teachers come and join us. To get the best of teachers join the clan of teaching, or to get into the teaching education system, we need to attract the best talent. That is one, through monetizing them properly, giving them the right kind of salaries, and also giving them the required respect. So when I'm talking about respect, what I would say is that I would term teachers as the first-class citizens of the country. That's something that we need to do, and to get the right kind of people. This reminds me of something which recently happened almost around 10 days back in one of these Scandinavian countries. The government pays everybody there. So they had the teachers and the doctors and the engineers. So the teachers were paid more than the doctors and the engineers. So all the doctors and the engineers, their representatives, they went and they met the government system, and they said, why are we paid less? The answer was that because you're common people, and teachers, they are not common people. They are beyond you. They are the people who create you. So you cannot come and compare. So that's the kind of thing that we want. So I would want to bring in the best of respect and the best of salaries for teachers who toil for our kids, for the future of this country. Not their own children. They are taking care of others' children. We've always seen that parents क्या करते हैं, बच्चे पैदा करते थे, दे देते स्कूल को, आप पढ़ा लो. अब जिसको आप दे रहे हो तो होता है. कहते हैं ना, कृष्ण भगवान की माँ तो अलग थी, लेकिन उसको somebody else brought her up. That value has to go to these teachers. They are bringing up your kids and making them the kind of people you want them to be. That's one. So as a mark of respect, I am on a mission. Mrs. Rana and Manjeet ma'am, I would, and also Gunjan Sani ma'am, since you are a Redu leader, I would request all of you to look at one of this important point. I am on a mission. Can you make this your mission? I'm going to share a small thing. Just let me share a document. Let me know if you are able to see that. Right? I think you can see this now, right?
Yes, sir.
So what we do is we are on a mission to get the right kind of recognition for all teachers. All doctors write DR before their name. All chartered accountants write CA before them. All engineers write ER before their name. Why can't we write an ED before our name? What I want to propose is that before our names, before our teachers' names, if we are able to write an ED, that will let the world know that we are teachers. We are the ones who are making the future of this country. We are the ones who develop great minds. So let us be recognized. Let us be respected the way we need the respect to be there. Because this is the most noble profession. And if we, as teachers, are doing anything which is not correct, if we are respected, we ourselves will change. So that is one thing that I would always talk about. There's one more thing that I would like to say is that I have taken the permission of, writing this without, asking you, why can't we have these things written? So my request to all of you is, Rana ma'am, Manjeet ma'am, Gunjan ma'am, if you could write an ED before your name.
Sir. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So if you could do that and let this percolate down, let all the teachers, whether it's pre-primary or primary or secondary, let them be respected. Let them hold their heads high. We are the teachers. And that's what we want to do. If that can be done, a lot can be done. I alone cannot do it. But as a teaching fraternity, we can all go to that level, bring that love and respect for the teachers. So that's what I would do. I would make teachers as the most important citizens of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaswinder sir. We appreciate your this wonderful mission, and you have our support. And now I would request Ruchika Rana ma'am, ma'am, if we can have your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Minister of Education?
See, if I become the Minister of Education, I would definitely, first of all, I would like to uh, make teachers trainings, good trainings, and overall development of the teachers would be the main my focus. And teachers, and as we are talking about teachers, technology, so teachers we will make technology equipped. So that ways. Uh, Strengthening the teachers and through monetary benefits and otherwise as well as professionally, that will be my main target, because teachers are the one who make the future of the nations and they should be respected and appreciated. So as a if I get an opportunity, so education minister, so definitely I will work upon strengthening the teachers and the development of the and making them technology equipped. So that will be my main focus point. And as far as concluding, I would definitely want, and I would wish, and I'm very positive about it, and we will be working to make India a global knowledge superpower by providing high quality education. So I
Great.
hope whatever is the vision and the mission of the NEP, that gets fulfilled and succeed.
Absolutely. You have our support, and in collaboration, in a collective effort, we'll certainly achieve that. Thank you, Ruchika ma'am, for participating and sharing. And now I request Manjeet ma'am, ma'am, we would like to end the session with your blessings. I would request if you can have your concluding remark, and what would be your idea if you get a chance to become Minister of Education?
Yeah, new education policy is a progressive shift towards a more scientific approach to education. Technology in education is just a journey and not a destination. And we need the capacity to orchestrate the various players to implement this policy objectives. And if implemented in its true vision, the new structure can bring India at par with the leading countries of the world. And as Ruchika ma'am said, there is no doubt that India will become a global superpower. And of course, as Ruchika ma'am has also supported, that technology, our teachers need to be technology equipped. Once we equip the teacher with technology, we arm them with technology, then they can do wonders, because as 2040, it will all be the world of technology. And that's it. And now, if I'm given the chance to become the education minister of India for one day, even I would agree with Jaswinder sir that we need to increase the teachers' salary, because they are the backbone of our country, and teachers create magic. So teachers, basically all these the engineers, doctors and all, who has made them? The teachers. So if our teachers are paid well, they are happy, they'll work with sincerity, dedication, commitment. And if the teachers are motivated, they will in turn impart a high, because once they're motivated, they, they'll have some motivation for working better. And so it will in turn improve the literacy rate of our society, as the and we will and they will impart better knowledge to our students, who are the future torch bearers of our country and the leaders of our nation. Another thing I would like to do, and especially, the government should take our experiences into consideration. I mean that those who have spent more than 20 years in education, more than 2 decades in education, so why not just collate their experiences, and maybe they will and we can give our views, and so that we also have some strong role in policy making. Maybe, I mean, our experiences, we can share better views with the government. So that's what I mean. People who have spent, I mean, all over India, if you see, there are so many teachers who have spent more than 20 years in education. Even those teachers who are retired, principals, teachers, educationists, I think you can take their viewpoints. The government should just rope everyone in, so that we come out with the best policy. So we should utilize their experiences, and even they'll feel good that they were also part of this policy making of NEP 2020, national education policy. So
Absolutely.
yes, so that's what I feel. So thank you so much for being a part of this esteemed gathering. I'm really honored. Thank you.
Thank you, Manjeet ma'am. Big thanks for joining and sharing your thought. Just one thought wanted to share after listening to you. We are also creating. There are a lot of education leaders who have more than 30 years of experience, 40 years of experience, and they have so much of knowledge to share.
Yes.
And at India International Education Council,
There's a
we
big
are
lot of
creating a
knowledge,
pool of
you know,
those.
can be shared. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we are creating a pool of these, you know, edu leaders, and so I'll also come back to you with more detail. And a lot of not just the educational institutions, not just the government, lot of edtech companies who are coming ahead. They also need that kind of guidance. You know, they are very good at technology part. They are very good at, I would say, at the product side, but they lack in that kind of exposure with the education leaders. So many companies, edtech companies, also need those education leaders on their boards as advisor on different capacity. But the challenge is how to reach out to those people, how to find out those people, how, you know. So there is a huge lack of that kind of bridge. So we are creating that kind of bridge in some way. I'll come back to you. Now, big thanks, you know, all the speakers, Manjeet ma'am, Ruchika ma'am, Jaswinder sir, Vinayak sir, for participating and sharing your wonderful ideas and thoughts, for making this 127th session truly special. Big thanks. We'll end the session here. Thank you.
So
Thank
much. It was our
Thank
pleasure.
you. So, thank
Pleasure
you.
meeting you all. Thank you. Thank you. I'll see
Thank
to
you,
it that I
everyone.
meet both of you, ma'am.
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Anna and Manjeet, ma'am. Thank you so much.
सर का
Thank
तो
you so
जसविंदर
much.
सर का तो सारा काम हो गया, उनका रिटायरमेंट का एक चंडीगढ़ में प्लान है और एक उनका देहरादून में प्लान है.
चंडीगढ़ में खाने का है, देहरादून में आराम करने का. चंडीगढ़ यू गॉट
Right, sir.
fantastic
I'm
food.
for you, sir.
चलिए, thank you so much.
चलिए.
Thank you.
Thank you for this
Thank you.
wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. Thank you.